So you're planning to move to the Houston, Texas from any other state, and I know I've been there. I moved to Houston in 2018 from the state of California, and a lot of people talk about all the great things about Houston, Texas, like the cheaper cost of living, along with a lot of other things. But ever since I moved to the state, I did find a lot of negatives that I think people should be aware of before they make their move to Texas or to Houston. So in this video, we're going to be talking about 11 reasons why not to move to Houston, Texas, unless you're okay with all of them. So let's jump with the reason number one. So the first reason why I think you shouldn't be moving to the Houston area is going to be the weather. I still remember the first day when I came over here from California, and it was just pouring like crazy, and the sky was gloomy constantly. It was during the summertime, and it just was not pretty. So besides the rain, you're going to be getting a lot of humidity over here, and the summertime over here in Texas gets extremely hot. So I couldn't enjoy really the time outside, and you always constantly jumping from one space with air conditioning to the other and just trying to escape the outside altogether. And obviously coming from California, I was so not used to that because California climate is much more milder and way less humid. So even when the temperature goes high in Cali, like it doesn't feel as bad comparing to over here. When it's humid, the 90s is just going to feel pretty uncomfortable. You get sweaty really quickly, and yeah, it's just not a great time. Now, comparing to the summertime, the winter time is going to be much more comfortable. The temperature drops pretty significantly over here, and you are gonna have more of that California climate when it comes to humidity as well. So the winter time was very enjoyable for me personally. Now, the second reason why I think you should not be moving to Houston, Texas is going to be bugs. During the summertime, again, that summertime just gets me every single time. We get an insane amount of mosquitoes over here. So me and my wife not so long ago bought a house here in the master plan community in Houston, and the master plan communities, they have a lot of walk paths and just for you to enjoy as a resident, but it was absolutely unbearable. We unfortunately did not have the mosquito repellent, so we got bitten like crazy, and I don't even know if those mosquito repellents work very well. Of course, you can always give it a shot and see how it works out for you, but for us, yeah, we were not prepared, and it was just a miserable experience. So you've been warned that summertime in Houston, Texas, you better leave for vacation, okay? So the reason number three why I think you should not be moving to the Houston, Texas is going to be lack of outdoor activities. I think it partially is due to the fact that it does get super hot during the summertime, so they do have quite a few things to do when it comes to indoor stuff, but in general, when it comes to activities, it's pretty scarce over here in the Houston area. Mostly people just go to restaurants and bars and spend time doing those type of things, but yeah, lack of outdoor activity is definitely one of the reasons why I think it can be a problem for some people who are coming from states where there's plenty of things to do outdoors. So the reason number four why I think you should not be moving to the Houston area is going to be the fact that there's barely any nature here in Houston, and it does look completely flat. So as you are driving through the city, there's no mountains, there's nothing like that, unless you're going to the hill county like in Austin. That's where you're going to see some mountains and some hills. But over here in Houston, it's just gonna look completely flat. There's barely any woods unless you're going to, or unless you're gonna be buying a home in a place like the Woodlands, or you're going to be going toward like Tumble-ish area. So the situation when it comes to the trees is going to be a little bit better over there. But if you are planning, let's say, to go to the beach, unfortunately Galveston is going to be your basically only option, and unfortunately Galveston water is going to be tainted by the Mississippi River bringing a ton of mud into the Gulf of Mexico. So the water kind of has more of a brown type of tone to it, which again taints the experience quite a bit. So if you are the type of person who needs a lot of nature, Houston, Texas is definitely not going to be for you. The reason number five why I think you should not be moving to the Houston area is going to be the fact that the Houston is really huge. So if you are, let's say, getting into the Katy area and you need to commute to downtown, do expect the drive to be quite long. It's going to take you at least an hour to get to downtown Houston, and that basically applies to the most of those corner suburbs around Houston. So that can definitely be an issue if you are planning to bring your family over, and if you need to commute, that can become an issue. And speaking of the drive, so if you do end up buying a home, let's say somewhere in Katy area, and then you need to commute to downtown, the problem is that that hour of time that you're going to be spending commuting from one place to the other, the visuals are going to be pretty dull. And there is a lot of industrial and commercial spaces along the freeway, so the drive just becomes very boring, very bland. And this is definitely one of the things that understimulates me in the sense of the visuals when it comes to the city. Of course, there are some patches of cool places here and there in Houston, but overall, if you're driving through the freeway or through the roads, you're not going to be seeing a lot of cool stuff. The reason number 7 why I think you should think twice before moving to Houston area is going to be traffic. So in Houston area, there's a lot of people, like I mentioned earlier in this video. It's about 7.5 million people in the Houston metropolitan area, and obviously during the peak hours you are going to expect some of the freeways to get very backed up. I mean, all the major freeways, to be honest with you, are going to get pretty bad. So if you're driving from downtown and into the Katy area, or if you're going up 45 into the Woodlands, or if you are going toward Galveston, all of those freeways during the rush hours are going to be completely backed up. So it is going to be a very unpleasant experience for you to be adding 20-30 minutes extra of drive, sometimes even an hour, depending on how bad the traffic is. So there were instances when I would be commuting from one place to another. Let's say if I were to be driving from Texas City into Katy area, sometimes that would take me 2.5 hours just to get from one point of the city to the other, and that was extremely frustrating. The reason number 8 why I think you should not be moving to the Houston area is going to be the roads. So for some reason in the Houston area, the road maintenance is just horrible. A lot of roads are broken and the drive becomes very unpleasant, and you definitely are going to be falling into a lot of like pit holes, and just it always makes me feel so much pain whenever I just fall into that pit, and it hurts so much. So definitely, if you are sensitive toward this type of pain and you feel for your car, definitely consider a different city other than Houston. So another reason why I think you should not be moving to the Houston area is going to be homelessness. And that was very surprising to me because Houston is known for its cheaper cost of living. So despite that, we are still having and experiencing situations like a lot of homeless people, not only in downtown area, but you will also be able to witness a lot of homeless population in suburbs as well. So whenever I'm driving in the suburbs and just going under those underpasses, I always see a lot of people, a lot of homeless people just asking for money. You know, that's what they usually do. But yeah, so if you are sensitive toward those type of things and you don't want to be seeing homeless people, Houston, Texas definitely has a bit of a problem when it comes to the homeless population. Now, the reason number 10 why I think you should not be moving to the Houston, Texas area is going to be pretty huge. And the reason why it's because here in Texas we do get hurricanes, and not so long ago, just a few weeks ago, we were getting Hurricane Beryl, and that was pretty devastating for Houston area. You know, we had a lot of issues when it comes to the power supply for the city, and a lot of homes were left out of power for days, and some of them are even out over a week, which is extremely uncomfortable for a lot of people. Don't forget, the reason number 1 was the weather. So those people without electricity were left without AC, which is horrible to say the least. Now, the reason number 11 why I think you should not be moving to Houston area, again, not every single area is going to be affected by this, but it's pretty high property taxes. In order for you not to get a sticker shock when you see your bill, you need to always check what your property tax rate in the given area, because you know, if you're moving into a newer community, the chances are you are going to have an additional mod tax on top of your regular rate. So some of the tax rates are as high as 3.5%. So that can add up to a pretty hefty sum at the end of the year. So these were 11 reasons why I think you should not be moving to the Houston, Texas area. For me personally, I'm still struggling with some of those reasons because I was not fully prepared before moving over here in 2018. But nonetheless, if you are okay with everything that I mentioned, and on top of that, Houston does have a lot of positive things to offer for a lot of different people. For example, if you're trying to get a great space for your money, Houston definitely can provide on that. On top of that, Houston has a lot of great school districts. Nonetheless, if you need help moving to the Houston area, shoot us a text, give us a call, send us an email, or fill out that link in the description so we can properly assist you and help you to make a smooth transition to the Houston area. And until next time, peace.